Good afternoon, everybody. Happy post-Thanksgiving. This is November 28th, 2025. I'm here with my guy, Matt Gaddis, game time sponsor, Pike High School legend, Purdue player, and all-around good guy. So, Mac, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Happy post-Thanksgiving, day off. I mean, 4-day weekend basically. Feels good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good.
I'm feeling good. They say the snow is coming, but I'm in the house for the weekend, man, so I'm not worried about the snow.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You know what? We're alive and safe. That's all that matters right now.
That's what matters. Hey, I know we've been talking about a lot of different things on the side, but what we haven't hit on from a perspective of live and on the show was, man, college basketball. You and I remember times when I'd come there at 21st Street and for a 10-minute stop, and 2 hours later we're talking hoops. So I want to get involved in college basketball, and there's this team up in, I think it's Northwest Indiana. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but somebody told me they're the number one ranked team in the country, 6-0 Purdue Boilermakers. So I want to give you an opportunity, man, to get in there and talk about your guys, man, because you got the insight for sure.
Well, you know what? It's always nice to be ranked number one, and I think it's sometimes it's a blessing and it's a curse. The big thing about college basketball and football is that football is important for rankings. I think college basketball really doesn't matter. Okay. I think it matters at the end of the season where you get your seeding. But right now, being number 1, 2, or 3 has no bearing. I think it's nice for, the clippings. But the thing about Purdue this year is that I told you before is that they're going to get everybody else's best game. You get the storm the court moment when you play the number one team. So if you have that in your mindset is that when we go play on the road to, let's say, Wisconsin, okay, we're number one. They're going to treat that game like a tournament game. You're treating it like another Big Ten game. That's where sometimes you're not being ready. And people usually say, oh, they had a slow start. It's not really a slow start. You weren't prepared when you left West Lafayette, okay, of what you were going to have to get into. So this team to me is built to be a champion. I would say if people say, okay, well, what's the one thing they're missing? I think the one thing that will give them an issue in the tournament is, are they athletic enough? Are they long enough? Okay. Is your weakness, is your strength a lot better than your weakness? So and what I mean by that is that I think they have shooting. I think they have rebounding. I think they have defensive guys. I think they got a floor general. I think they have everything. But if you looked at them and you says, what's the one thing they can run into is a team that they had to play in that exhibition, like Kentucky,
right?
Who is long, who has fairly good shooters, but gives you rim protection problem. Those guys get in passing lanes. Those guys get offensive rebounds when you got them already blocked out. Okay, that's the long athletic play of the 3-and-D guys that they may run into at your Arizonas, at your at your Dukes, at your Houstons, Michigan, all the teams like that. If you watch them, they're a lot different than the way Purdue plays.
Right. Oh, definitely.
So probably to me, this Purdue team is a lot like the best Gonzaga teams. In my opinion. And what do we always say about Gonzaga? Well, as soon as they meet somebody athletic, like when they had to play Baylor, they ran into a buzzsaw. Okay. So that's their biggest challenge to me. But you know what? Other teams have weaknesses too that have to be exploited. So
right.
Yeah. So I feel good about the chances. I really do.
And I agree with that. We took a look at that Bama Purdue game, right? You're talking about an athletic team in Bama, right? But one of the things about Bama, they're 5 out, right? They're shooting threes or dunks. There's little in between, and I think those type of teams Purdue can really take advantage of, right?
Right.
Because they're smart players and they don't play off of emotion, right?
Exactly.
Their floor general from Westfield High School, not a big fan, but man, he's continued to grow every year.
Right.
And he has command of that offense.
Right.
And he makes NBA point guard plays as well.
Right.
Too.
Right.
And,
if you look, D, when you watch them play, they don't jump off the paper to you like they dominate. Like when they played Bama, they were down, they were up. But what they do against teams like Bama is that they keep you from making big runs. Okay, so when you make a couple baskets in a row, I got to stop that run. So I think Painter's a great coach. I think that he does things with guys that other coaches don't do, in particular, where guys get better year after year. He gets and develops. Okay, so if you look at C.J. Cox this year, you look at Harris this year, you look at Braden Smith, you look at Fletcher Lord, all these guys get better from year to year. Okay, with the NIL and the portal, I think it's extremely difficult to build teams from year to year. You're remaking teams from year to year. So that's where I think the experience that Purdue has can be one of their biggest. They've been to the tournament. They've been deep in the tournament. Some of these teams are going to get in the tournament. That's their first time there. So how do you handle the bright lights? Okay, that's also another thing that I don't think people consider when you get on national TV. Things get big. Then sometimes the moment is too big for you. Who's going to take the big shot? When the game gets tight, guys run away from the ball. They don't run to it. Right. So I think you are correct in your assumptions. I'm just wondering if they can just sustain this to a way where their biggest weakness can be just overtaken by their biggest strengths.
And to that point, we talk about this NIL piece, and we've talked about it, ad nauseum over the last couple of months, man. The thing about Purdue, and I don't want to make this just a Purdue show, but it's important to talk about.
Right.
They stuck together, right? They don't have any strangers on their team.
No.
A lot of these teams have strangers, especially teams like Arkansas, teams like Houston. They've got strangers on their team. Even the stateside wise, Indiana, they've got strangers on their team.
Right.
Purdue doesn't have strangers; they're familiar with each other,
right.
And something's to be said about that, right?
You
want to be able to have the best players and the best talent, yes, but we've seen it in the past. Always the best and the most talented team doesn't win that game.
No.
There are misses, and this is what this team reminds me a little bit of.
Right.
In '87, when Indiana beat Syracuse in the title game. You talking about pros across the board for Jim Boeheim. Derek Coleman, an absolute dominant rookie. Sherman Williams. Sherman Douglas.
Right.
I'm thinking about John Sherman Williams.
Ronnie Cycli was on that team.
Cycli, right? You talking about legitimate pros who are really, really going to be really good. And it just you're saying that one shining moment, right?
Right.
And it mattered, right? So I think Purdue, if they continue to play the way they are, but we talked about all this time, no injuries, right?
Right.
Injuries are the difference maker that you don't see coming.
Right. And that's and as I look at it is that they have a sprinkle in always of maybe a transfer or two. Like they got the kid from South Dakota, they got the kid from the new kid that came in from Israel, but he's a freshman, but he's still a foreign kid, but he kind of takes a nucleus and sprinkles in a couple of guys. Some of these teams, which makes it hard to rank teams, there's faces where you go, I didn't know he's there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch games. I was watching a game last night. I think it was Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I think it was who was on that team? Wagner, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he came from his dad and uncle, right? And grandfather. Really.
Right. So he followed Calipari. So what you're seeing now is that there's a lot of following going on. As soon as you lose a pretty good head coach. You lose probably the top 2 players. What the portal has really done is it's taken your best mid-majors and they want to go top D1. So let's take Indiana State when they made their run.
Right.
Okay. Right after that, the one kid goes to Louisville, the guard.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. The kid with the goggles leaves. The head coach leaves. Now, Indiana State's not the same team that had that run. If that team would have stayed together with the head coach, there's no telling where Indiana State would be now. So the mid-majors get their best players taken from them.
Yeah.
Now, at the high majors, you can steal a guy that's a little deep on the bench, that's maybe a 4-star that's not playing. He can maybe go to a Vanderbilt. He can go to a Missouri. He's leaving Duke and goes to Missouri.
Right.
Okay. So now you can build a team overnight with guys that you couldn't recruit in high school.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys chase the big schools. Everybody can't play at Duke. Okay. Boozer comes in, he took somebody's spot. Or so, I mean, that's what happens. Now, it used to be when I played back in the 80s, you had a depth chart. You knew that if you were a junior, you backed up the senior point guard. So you knew in your head kind of next year, I'm going to be the starting guard. Now you're the junior point guard. They go and get a kid who played at University of such and such, who's now a 5th year or a senior. He comes in. He's the starting guard. You may now move down a spot because they recruit a freshman. Now you were the second. Now you're the third.
Yeah.
I mean, so the landscape has just changed where you can now get good overnight.
Yeah.
It used to take 2 or 3 years before.
The development.
Now it's what coaches are doing is they're not recruiting high school as much anymore. They're recruiting portal.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would rather take a sophomore who played college basketball at a high level than take an unknown freshman. Yeah. I know about this guy who's coming in that's going to be a sophomore or junior. I got tape on him. I know he can play right away. Freshman in high school, I really don't know that he's going to be able to play. I know he's a good high school player.
Right.
I don't know how he's going to be. I don't know how he's going to be as a freshman. He's a freshman. Yeah. So that's where I think it shifted, where a lot of the recruiting is you have to have a guy on your staff that just watches portal.
Yeah. That's what they've got now. They've got portal watchers, right? And that's what their recruiting tool.
Right. Yeah. So it's just, it's NIL portal has just changed college athletics. And I would say a little bit for the worse, but also for the good. I think it's fair.
That's good out of all of it.
Paid. I think it's paid. Your name, image, and likeness. I don't see anything wrong with that.
And that's good out of all of it. It can be good and bad out of all of it. I'm gonna throw a name at you. I don't know if you recognize his name or not. Nigel Pack.
Oh yeah.
As we talk, we just listen. I see JCA, went to school with my youngest at Jewel Christian Academy. Went from Kansas State to Miami. Now is at Oklahoma. Great family, by the way. Lovely family, the Pack family. Went to Marshall.
I know David. Yeah, great guy. Right.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So with that said, he's taking advantage of an opportunity. I remember seeing them play against Indiana in I want to say it was a Sweet 16, if I remember right, a few years ago when Woody was coaching, seeing his mom and dad out in the stands. But you got to take advantage of an opportunity. Maybe Nigel Pack isn't going to be an elite NBA player.
Right.
But why not have an opportunity to take advantage of what you have which is a basketball skill. You're sharp. You come from a great family, and you can parlay it into some great things and do some great things after you're playing. And maybe he's got an opportunity like Devin Davis Jr. play 10 years double overseas.
Exactly.
And great career, right?
It's a business decision now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it is more than what it ever is. You're making business decisions at a younger age.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's nothing I tell people, you go to college to make money afterwards. Okay. If you had a son and he was at Purdue and a big engineering company came in and said, hey, you want to leave? Come over here. I'll pay you $3 million. Okay. You're going to leave your job, your school, and you're a student. You're going to go to MIT. You're not going to stay at Purdue because they're offering a better opportunity. So I don't know why we don't think that college athletes can do the same thing. Okay.
It's like they can't do that because they're supposed to be there to love school. No, you go to school to better yourself.
Right.
And if you have an opportunity to better yourself by going through this platform that's been, made up for you from an NIL perspective and a transfer portal perspective, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least, stick your toe in the water and see.
Absolutely. And there's nothing, and I've seen the one problem I have is, why are you leaving? Okay. So you have some guys leave. It's like the kid that left Michigan, Dickinson. Okay, center. Okay.
Kansas.
He goes to Kansas. I don't think he bettered his situation. Okay. Because the only way that I could see him leaving saying, I'm playing center here. Okay. I know at the next level, I've got to learn to play a stretch four. Okay. I can't do that at Michigan. I can do that at Kansas. But he went to Kansas and played the same exact position.
Because I think he got a few more dollars, right?
Right. So it wasn't really about the next level. It was about the money. But call it what it is, though. But I see some kids leaving thinking that their basketball situation of playing time, of the way they play, is going to get better. Now, sometimes the marriage, the honeymoon ends and the marriage begins. So when you're being recruited, they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. Okay, you can come here.
You got some stories, right?
Like you can be the man. You're gonna average 15 and 10. Well, you know what? He just told that story to another guy 10 minutes ago. Okay, the same exact story. Okay, so everybody can't be the man, and that's what happens with some of these teams. I think when people look on paper and go, they got such and such, they got such and such, they got him from this. All these guys. Okay, who's the role guy?
Yeah.
Who's the glue guy? Who's the dirty work guy? Well,
and if you think that's beneath you, right, you're going to be a problem in the locker room. You're going to be a problem with your coach, and ultimately, probably you're one and done at that school because
there's a chemistry problem. There's a chemistry problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One of the best teams I saw in college was that Kentucky team that had Trey Lyles, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, the Harrison twins, Willie Cauley-Stein. Okay. I mean, that's 7 foot across the front line. They get beat by Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Wisconsin. Yeah,
with Decker and Kaminsky. Okay, on paper they're a 30-point. They should be a 30-point loss.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't. All these guys can't be the man. It's like a McDonald's All-American team trying to play in college.
Yeah, and that's what's happened. That's exactly what happened with Cal.
That will get you so far, okay? But sooner or later, you're going to meet somebody that plays as a team, plays team defense, well coached and disciplined, and they're going to catch you. And all they need is 40 minutes. It's not a best. It's not a best 5 out of 7. It's not a best 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
I need to play better than you for 40 minutes. And that's why the NCAA tournament is so great when we're watching these games and people go, hey, man, what's the name's losing to such and such by 4 points with 2 minutes left? If it was that easy, everybody would go through the brackets and you would just pick the top.
Everybody had winning brackets.
Exactly. That's why your bracket is busted, is because more talented teams are getting beat by less talented teams. But there's something that both of them have, and it's something both of them don't have. And usually the best teams do not win at NCAA time. That's just the way That's just the way it is.
Because they're sleepwalking, right? By the time they wake up, it's minute 35.
Right, exactly.
And it's too late.
They wonder what happened. What happened.
Because what's happened, that game is going on, and now you've settled into who you are for the game.
Right.
You can't, these young players, they think they can flip the switch because, hey, man, I was a 30-point scorer in high school. I could do this. I could do this.
Right.
It's not a same game deal.
No.
And that was the one thing that people talked about with Coach Knight, right? He said, you may be more talented, right?
Right.
But all I need is this one. I'm gonna find that weakness, and I'm gonna.
Right.
And that's what these coaches are doing. Just like you talked about, with your Purdue coach, same thing. Find it and attack it. That's it.
Well, and I think Painter's this way. You might be able to out talent us. You can't outwork us.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it's 3 minutes left, and it's a possession going on, the rebound goes up. It's really not talent that gets that ball. Sometimes it's effort.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll see guys go get loose balls when another guy is standing like right there. Okay. That doesn't have anything to do with talent. That has something to do with effort. The ball's rolling. You're trying to pick it up. I dive on it. Okay. Yeah. I go down, hit a three. Now you come down, miss, you foul, I'm up by 5. So you wonder, like, man, how'd they? Well, it was only a couple of possessions that there was there, a 50-50 ball. Okay. You can jump out of the gym. I put my butt on you, drive you out. You can't jump.
Right.
Okay. It's a technical block out. You go over my back. Yeah. You don't try to work around me. You use your athletic skill, just like on defense. I played with guys who they don't get in the passing lane. They let you catch it, get around them, and then they try to block it from behind because they're so athletic, they can make up for bad positioning.
Yeah.
But at some point, that bad positioning gets you in trouble. You see guys, they go for the fake. The dude goes to basket, he fakes up, you fly past him. The dude can't dunk, he just lays it in. Yeah. And you go, damn. Okay, well.
How'd that happen?
How's that happen? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, how it happens is I was smarter than you on that play. I use your greatest strength against you.
Yeah.
IU players used to do it all the time. They weren't very athletic. Okay. They set a screen, roll to the basket. Okay. You drive the basket, dude sets out, takes a charge. Okay.
That's defeating. That's defeating.
Yeah. It was very simple of what guys do. And Larry Bird proved that non-athletic players have to have other skills that athletes do not possess. Okay. But if you find an athletic kid that has really good skills,
you got something.
He's tough to handle. Okay.
There's a guy named Michael Jordan. I think
that's right. Kobe
Bryant.
These guys are not only athletic, but they're highly fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
And in college, it's hard to find guys who are really athletic and fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Those are tough to find because when they play AAU ball now,
too many highlights.
So much ripping and running. There's really no fundamentals. And that's why European players, I think, are sometimes better players. When they go to practice, everybody does skill work together. Okay. So the guards do the skill work with the centers do with the guards. Okay. Americans, what we do is that we play too many games. And when we do practice
3 games a day.
A day. When we do practice, people are separated. Big men go down here, guards go here. Okay. That's why you see Joker, Luka, all Giannis, Wemby, all these guys, what do they have? They are big guys that have guard skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just catching up on doing some of that. The MBs. But now you can see most Europeans that play basketball, that come over and play, even at the college level, these guys are fundamentally sound.
They got something. They got something. No,
you're
right.
Yes.
No,
yeah.
That's a good point. And I'd be remiss. I know when I want to pivot over to what happened yesterday. I see your hat on. I got to make sure I hit that as well. but I want I love the dialogue about hoops, man, because this just brings me back to early 2000s. You and I, right? Yeah. But to pivot to yesterday, Thanksgiving, right? I'm just going to go in order because we had 3 games, NFL games were played yesterday, and then we'll wind down with that. But we'll start. Okay. We'll use your boys last. Detroit and Green Bay. Yeah. One of the things I said at the beginning of the year about Detroit was they've got probably the most talented team. They got a coach, a head coach who has the respect of everybody in that locker room and in that organization. But what I said, because they lost their OC and their defensive coordinator, and I said, well, that's fine, but you've got the lead guy, and he's the straw that stirs the drink. Mm-hmm. My challenge is this: 2 weeks ago, they went for it on 4th down 5 times and failed.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday, I think they were 0 for 3.
Right.
It's great, having confidence in your guys, but there's a line of demarcation where you say, listen, I get it. I get it. You're a gunslinger. Right. But it's 4th and 3 at hour 41. Right. Maybe it's just best that we go ahead and punt.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw yesterday.
Well, with the way now that kickers can kick the ball, okay, if you don't get past the 50 and you're going for it on 4th down, you're probably giving 3 points away.
Yeah.
Okay.
First down.
You're down. Right. So I'm watching, and I picked the Lions yesterday to win. Okay, on my sheet, I picked the Lions.
Same here.
I'm just thinking, I don't really trust Jordan Love. I know he's good and talented, but I think Detroit playing at home, they got a lot of talent. They got running. They got this. They got that. I'm just thinking, you know what? This Detroit team. I'm not sure if they're a fraud or not. I don't completely trust them in a big game. Right. First off, I think Dan Campbell, losing their coordinators last year is showing up. Aaron, losing Glenn and losing the guy to Chicago, I think that Johnson shows up a little bit. I think that is showing its ugly head. But that was a team. Detroit was a team that I saw early in the year, and I said, man, this team has almost everything. I don't know what they're lacking.
The talent state.
I don't know. I don't trust Jared Goff all the time.
That's the thing. I think that's the opportunity.
As long as he doesn't lose the game, I think he's a game manager. I think that he can't lose the game.
Yeah. I think it got big for him, man. Think about this. When they were in the Super Bowl against New England a few years ago, when he was in LA, McVay didn't trust him to throw the ball. Didn't trust him. No. And subsequently traded him to Detroit for Stafford. And I think what's happened is, you're right. I think losing your OC and your DC has affected you. Right. But I think the biggest effect, I think that Goff has regressed between the ears. Yeah. And he looked lack of confidence yesterday. Right. Jahmyr Gibbs is they've got speed all over. They've got talent. They got a great offensive line. They're healthy on defense again. You score 28 points. That should be enough, right? To win the game. Right. But if you take into account those 3 4th downs that you didn't make,
right?
All it's like a turnover, man. We talk about the turnover game. Mm-hmm. That's a turnover. If you're at your own 42-yard line, your own, and you go for it on 4th down and you don't make it, guess what? Yeah. That's a 60-yard field goal from that spot.
Right. I don't have to move. I don't have to go anywhere at all. Yeah. If I just run the ball 3 times and get 8 yards and not a first down, now I'm inside. I'm down there 52
is a chip shot. 52 is a chip shot nowadays.
So flip the field. Always think sometimes flip the field and now make this team prove, especially with as good as their defense is, get turnovers, get fumbles. Now you have created a situation now where you get a turnover on your other side and you got the ball back right away with an easy possession. Right. I think that he's it's almost like now he's doing it because we expect him to.
Well, we have to. I've doubled down. It's like the poker room, right? Hey, listen,
Right.
I got to double down now.
Right. It's almost like he feels bad, like he's thinking in his head, if I don't go forward, people are going to talk about me. Okay, so I got to go forward because in the booth they're saying, well, if they get the fourth down, we know he's going to go for it. Sometimes somebody's got to be saying in his ear, Coach, punt that ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now we don't have it on offense. Let our defense make a play.
Right.
Okay. Let's take a play. Let's take a possession off. Get them off the field. Talk about a few things. Let the defense handle their business. When we get it back, now we be ready to go. He's trying to force the situation. It's like they say, you can't win a game in the first and second quarter, but you can lose one. Okay, and that's true. You can't win it, but you can lose a game in the first couple of quarters by turnovers and decisions you make.
Yeah,
because it sets up for as the game goes on.
Exactly.
And to that point, hit briefly that Cincinnati Ravens game last night. Joe Burrow coming back after the toe surgery. He looked good, man. He looks good. And Lamar Jackson, I saw a clip today, and it said someone said, "I think that's a clone." And I'm not getting into that, but he doesn't look anything like himself. And you thought when Pittsburgh had their stumble, I see Baltimore tying up them in their division. Right. Okay, here you go. You got to take it on. Now you got Cincinnati. They're 4-8.
Right.
They're 2 games behind you.
Right.
2 games behind the Steelers, and they've got another game with you all and another game with the Steelers.
Right.
So I don't see Cincinnati running the table. They've got 8 losses.
No,
but
I think they play spoiler. I think what they do is that they make the fight between the Ravens and the Steelers a lot closer because now the Steelers probably think in their head, if we beat the Bengals, okay, can they beat the Ravens again? Now that makes it because I think if the Ravens win yesterday, they have a stranglehold on the division with just the games left. But losing that game at home,
tough, man.
Really, it made it. Now you put the Steelers right back into the mix because the Steelers are on the outside looking in as of yesterday.
Now they're feeling good.
They win. The Ravens win that game and the Steelers lose against the Bills. Now you pretty much in a weekend you kind of really solidified things.
Yeah.
But I think Lamar is playing through injuries. Okay, I think that they at one point they got to the season and they say he's got to play because we are headed in the wrong direction. They were losing too many games. It was kind of like the Burrow situation where if we lose one more, we're probably done. So I think he was rushed back, and I think that he's just not because what I don't see him doing now is that when he's under distress, he used to take off.
Yeah,
he could get 8 yards in his sleep. Now he seems to be staying in that pocket.
That fumble at the goal line was so indicative, right? He looked like, well, what do I do next?
Right. Years ago, he'd have been gone.
Yeah.
Okay. He shot out of a rocket. As soon as he got any kind of pressure, he's gone. I mean, and good luck.
But that's what made him an MVP.
Down the field.
That's what made him an MVP, right?
Right. Exactly.
And that's supposed to make life easier for your players around you. When the old saying, what's that, paralysis by analysis? It looks as though he's thinking, Mac. Because to your point, man, this hamstring isn't 100%, or maybe he doesn't have the confidence in it, right?
Exactly.
That could be just as bad if you don't have the confidence in your push off.
Right. It seemed like he's thinking. He used to play as a reactionary guy, where he just when he could feel it, it was almost like he could feel a guy there, and by the time you reached out, he was gone.
He's gone. Yeah,
he was gone. And if you're playing man-to-man defense, you're hugged up with the guy. You don't even know he even took off running.
He's by you.
By the time you seen, he's up beside you almost, where you got to turn around and now try to tackle this guy. Zone coverage, you could control him a little bit more because you could face him.
You got eyeballs on him.
Right. Man to man, you're turned around. Okay. So then you probably got to put a spy on him. And that's a linebacker, which is a disadvantage anyway, even if you try to spy him with a linebacker. He's getting past that guy. So I just think right now, I think they're still, if they get into the playoffs, some of these teams, if they can get in, I think they're dangerous. The problem is that getting in, like the Bills, if they get in, I think they're going to be hard to beat. I think if the Ravens get in, they can beat in. There's nobody you could probably, if you just had a playoff game, you say, who is unbeatable right now, probably in the playoffs? I don't think there's.
Nah, man. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, right? Because you see what New England has done. Their come up. You see what Denver's done. I still say Denver's still the worst 10-win team in the league.
I agree. Do you trust Drake May?
No.
Completely. Bo Nix?
Not at all. Listen, I saw Bo Nix up and close for 5 years in SEC. I don't trust Bo Nix.
I would say right now the Rams.
Yeah,
because
Stafford's playing ball.
Because they got Puka, they got Devontae Adams. Okay, they got Stafford.
So, they got a running game.
And they got a running game. Okay, and their head coach is a savant. I mean, the dude's probably the smartest guy in the league. I mean, he comes up with wrinkles and this and that, putting 2 tight ends out there. I mean, so right now I say the Rams, but it's not like the Rams are unbeatable. I mean, they're not. They're not.
Coach Adam. Coach Adam did the right.
Yeah, right. They did. I mean, you're right. So that's why I say there's a lot of teams, including my squad, that if they get in, if you can score and you can bend and not break on defense, I think you always got a chance.
Hey, great segue. Listen, I was very impressed with your boy yesterday. I know you were sitting there on pins and needles. I know you saw Isaiah and I talking about the Cowboys at the beginning of the season with the Micah trade. Hey, the floor is yours. Give me your take on your boys and what Dak did yesterday.
Well, it's to me right now. Dak is playing an MVP caliber football. Okay, so you got to say what's different now. I think that George Pickens has changed everything. Okay. Their best years was when they had an offensive line, a running game, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. Okay. Dak plays better with 2 good wide receivers because he tosses it around so much. Okay. The Parsons trade doesn't hurt anymore. Okay. Because you end up basically getting Keenan Williams. You got Clark. Now they got Overshawn that's come back. Hooker's playing better. Bland is back there. And I've always said that DBs play better when you have a pass rush. Okay. When you don't have a pass rush, you got to have all pro DBs. Okay. When you got a pass rush, your DBs don't have to be locked down because you don't have enough time to throw. And that's what I saw yesterday is that Mahomes, even as good as he is, he was on a bicycle a lot. Okay. I mean, he was
not just this week. Not just this week.
Yes. I mean, and that's usually if you can get him moving like that, So I just think the Cowboys right now, I think that they gotta go. They can't lose more than one more. I didn't think they would beat both the Eagles and the Chiefs. I thought they would win one of them.
2 for 2.
That's what I thought. Okay. I said if they win these 2 games, they can beat the Lions, they can beat the Chargers, and then they got the Commanders and the Giants. Okay. So I see no reason why they're not a 10-win team. I mean, and I think 10, 11 wins, I think, get you into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think and it depends on how the shakeout is and then the breaker, right? Because I think that tie is going to help them. I know people say, well, I would have rather lost. No. Ties help a lot better than a loss.
It's better. It's better.
That's a half a win.
Right.
That's a half a win.
And I've always been a, what is Jerry kind of doing kind of guy. I think this year, the moves that they made, and I think it was unconventional for him not to pay Micah Parsons.
Right.
He's always done it. Most teams are overpaying their star. Yeah. Okay.
Why? Why in Pittsburgh?
If you look at all these teams that overpay guys, okay. Cleveland Brown, Myles Garrett's a hell of a player. How many games they won? Max Crosby, hell of a player. how many games they won. Okay. You know, all these guys, and Dallas would have been the same thing. Pay Parsons $50 million. You were 31st in defense last year with Parsons.
Maybe you'll be 28th.
I am not paying a guy $50 million, and I was 31st on defense. Yeah. That's not smart money spent. Okay, and, you know and people are like, no, you got to pay him. He's generational. He's this. Do you understand? We were almost dead last with the guy. We need to take that $50 million and spread it around.
Parse it out.
And,
because
that's what these teams aren't doing is that why pay? It's just like Cincinnati. Okay. They pay Tiggins, Chase, and Burrow. Okay. They can never have a Super Bowl team paying 3 offensive guys that much money.
That's almost $96 million a year for those 3, almost in that neighborhood.
Right.
You know, and you wonder why your defense is where, and you got Hendrickson, right? You got him on that 1-year deal, who will probably be gone in the offseason. So your best pass rusher. Now, those young guys that you drafted high who haven't been playing well, if they don't play well, you're gonna have a top 3 offensive team and a bottom 3 defense.
Right. There's only one guy I'm gonna probably overpay is the quarterback. Yeah. Okay. Some of these quarterbacks get paid because they have to. Okay. Yeah. What is my choice if I don't pay him? Who do I go get? Okay. I gotta pay somebody $30 to $40 million.
Gotta be competent. Look at Daniel Jones. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at these things. Right. Can you imagine if you're Minnesota, if you could turn the sands of the clock back? And say we'll keep Darnold versus McCarthy. I don't know why he's gotten such a push on NFL radio and all of that. For that situation, Mac, it's just crazy to me, right? Because I'm like, wait a minute, how in the world is McCarthy your starter after you go 14-2 with Sam Darnold? And you just give him,
but he's not the sexy pick though. See, people are enamored with the shiny, with the shiny vehicle. Okay. And that's why I go back to Parsons. Okay. He, first of all, is not an every down guy. I tried to teach people about this. He's not an every down guy. Okay. So when he's rushing, you run right by him. Okay. Yeah. He's rushing up the field. I would rather have a run stopper who can rush. Okay. I'd rather have the Forrest Buckner type guys.
Quinn Williams. Hell of a pickup.
Right. Exactly. Edge rushers, I can run the other way. Okay. What about when I'm not passing? He's just running up the field. I mean, so now you got to pull him on certain downs. I'm not paying you $50 million if you can't pay every down. That's just. Lawrence Taylor is about the only dude I know that plays that kind of linebacker position and plays everywhere.
Everywhere.
LT lined up wherever he wanted to line up. In the gap, it didn't matter. Okay?
And he made a difference. Wherever he lined up, he made a difference.
Right. So now these guys, they're getting overpaid because somebody else got paid. So now when Crosby and all these guys and Myles Garrett got paid, basically at that point, well, you know what I want? Well, it's not what you want. It's what are you worth, my man? I mean, so you got to pay your worth. If you don't like it, look, we can try to trade you, and we can make it from there. What Green Bay did was the Parsons deal is great. Giving up Clark wasn't a great part of the deal. Okay.
Yeah.
It was just like the Luka and AD. It wasn't the big part of Luka and AD. It was what else you got.
The ancillary, and there was no ancillary.
Exactly. You have to give me either Austin Reeves or a couple first-round draft picks. Okay. And I know I jumped on you there, but it's the GM and the thinking of people that they got to think that, you know what, it really wasn't a trade for trade. It's what else did I get in the deal? And what they didn't see is that it gave the Cowboys an opportunity to get Williams. Yeah. If they spend all that money on Parsons, We have no Williams.
Yeah. That one went to the Jets.
First in the league.
That one went to the Jets that they got from Green Bay, and you would any team in the league would give you their first round pick for a guy like you saw how destructive Quentin Williams was yesterday. Right. That's who he is. That's who he is. And they said, "Well, he's not a sack guy." No. Listen, you don't have to be. He's a run stopper. And guess what happened when they had that third down yesterday? Yes. He grabbed the running back. He grabbed and says, "No, I got him." And sat him down.
Right. That's right.
And
the thing about it is that people are looking at stats. Okay. They don't look at if I get double teamed, somebody else is running free.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got to create anytime you have to account for Williams, that leaves Clark and OC basically in a one-man situation with probably a dude that's not as good as them at their position. Okay, so when he's disruptive, and I think you use the word disruptive.
Yep.
Okay, which means that he's always in the way. It always seems like he's just in the way. Okay, no matter what happens, why is that dude there? Okay, he's just falling down in the back. Mahomes is running away. He doesn't have to sack Mahomes.
Yeah,
but when Mahomes runs away, he ain't on his platform.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I make you run with the football and you're running it with down beside you, that's different than you on your platform making and surveying the field. And that's what they were beginning of the year. They couldn't stop a nosebleed, and guys like Caleb Williams went back to pass, and they were back there for 3.5, 4 seconds. Any quarterback in the NFL, you give him more than about 2.5, 3 seconds, he's finding somebody because you can't defend a guy out there in the field for more time than that.
Especially with the way the rules are too, Mac. That's the other thing. You put your hands on a guy 5 yards down the field.
It's impossible. I mean, when a guy makes a break, if he doesn't get it then and he makes another break, you probably got either bumping, grabbing, tugging, and all of a sudden now it's a flag. So that's why by that time when he makes his second break, I've got to be getting pressure on the quarterback, where before the Cowboys allowed a quarterback, by the time the guy made his first, made his second, now he's running wide open across the seam. And you're like, geez, okay, can we not defend anybody? We need defensive backs. No, you need to put some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%, man. So my thought is this, your boys got a big game next week. They got a 10-day rest, obviously.
Right.
Big game coming up. I see no reason why with the momentum they've got and with what's going on in Detroit with, I think second guessing on fourth down. And I saw that Amon St. Brown is high ankle sprain, so he won't be available.
Right. That's huge. That's going
to put a lot more pressure on Gibb, right?
Yes.
Gibbs, he stood up. But listen, Gibb is 5'9", 185.
Exactly.
Okay?
Right.
So he needs this 10 days as well because he's had a stretch that Sunday and then yesterday where he's been the man. So I'm sure he's probably in the cold tub all day today.
Right. Well, you know what the surprising stat was is that the Cowboys beat the last two teams that were in the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I mean, so I thought that was in there because before Cowboys lost games like this.
Yeah.
They always falter, in games like this, end of the game. Because I'm thinking the whole time, if Mahomes has a ball at the end, that's not
everybody's thinking that.
I'm thinking the whole time. I'm like, oh man, this I can see exactly what's going to happen. He's going to score, go to overtime. You don't get the flip, and he goes down and score. I mean, you can just see how it's scripted out. I mean,
they had the 3 timeouts left. They didn't use any timeout on that touchdown drive.
Yes,
I said, here we go again with this.
Well, the key is that the Cowboys, when they got the ball back, they didn't go 3 and out. They moved the ball down the field and made them use their 3 timeouts, and then got the first down
and got a penalty too, and got that other penalty, which was listen. Think about this in years past, Mac. That penalty, that's a Kansas City penalty all day. That's what they were getting.
That's what they were getting, right? And I thought one of the biggest breaks was when Pickens fumbled, and Turpin jumped on the ball.
Talk about hustle, right? You want to coach and not sitting there watching the game. Right. You're a part of the game, but you're on the field or in the court. You're a part of it, and you can't stop. And that was a great get because to that point, they were able to get the ball. I think they got a field goal out of it. If I remember.
They got a field goal, right? So it made it a 10-point. It made it a 10-point game.
And that was the difference. That field goal was the difference.
Right. So if you fumble that, they go down and they score like they did. It's tie game now.
Yeah.
So that to me, that was one of the most important part of that game and that's what I was talking about earlier was hustle play. Because some guys who are really talented and some guys that play, they would have stared at that ball.
Yeah.
And the split second you stare at it, it's too late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going the other way.
He made a jet line. He saw it and he didn't wait at all. And he went and jumped on it and secured it.
And you're right.
That situation, jump on it, and the ball pops out.
Man, how many times have we seen that, right? I saw it in the Navy-Memphis game last night. Navy was driving, and Memphis needed a stop. Ball goes in there, hits the ground. Memphis players fall. It's like they just,
Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's a possession here, possession there. When you go back and look that, okay, if we don't get this, sometimes you got to get a break.
Right.
Sometimes it's not always that you were a lot better. Sometimes you make your breaks.
The timing was right.
You just get a break. I mean, you get a good, just like when, they called a tug on the guy. Those are so huge when they move that ball 45 to 50 yards. Okay. Yeah. You're on the 20, you throw a bomb, 30-yard penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a game changer.
Yeah. And that gave Dallas confidence when and then you can just see Dak, right? As the game goes, and I like that. Dak's got a lot of hate from a lot of people, but he stayed true, man. He's been on point. And again, I hope he continues to do well, man. He's taking a lot of heat, man. So good for him, man. Good of him and good for Dallas for sure.
Yeah. Right.
So with that said, hey man, I really appreciate getting on here for almost an hour, talking, just chopping up like the good old days and everything.
Right.
We'll chop this up, Mac. We've got a lot of great things with Mac as our sponsor. We're doing big things. Obviously, we've got the network now where we're kind of moving forward with some things there. We got some surprises. They're going to be coming maybe towards the end of the year, beginning of 2026. So just know, folks, we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We appreciate the support. Please subscribe to the GameTimeNetwork.org. We're easy to find. Our bios are there. And if there's any engagement or communication you've got, please share with us. We'd be more than happy to hear and engage on our YouTube platform, Facebook, all the socials, if it's X, if it's Instagram, or also TikTok as well. So, again, thanks a lot, Mac, for spending some time with me. Appreciate everybody being a part of it. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you're not working the rest of the weekend. And you can sit back and watch a lot of sports.
All right. Hey, appreciate you, Daryl.
Thanks.
All right. See you, bro.